I went to San Francisco for work like way back, and I was like, what in the Lord's name is going on?
Bro, that's where I'm originally from.
That's a big
And
question.
I went back to the Bay in 21. And if I never have to go back, I'll be okay.
Bro,
And that's my home. Like that's
And
how
with
bad
that,
it's gotten.
dude,
and
it
with
is,
that, is it good to be alive on a Monday night in San Francisco? That's the question.
pew pew
We don't.
pew pew.
We may not have an answer, but I can tell you what we do have. We have another episode of 520 IXC live on YouTube and Facebook, wherever you're watching. Man, shout out to you, and shout out to the fellas. Man, not all of us are here. We're gonna miss the one whose name we will not say.
It's
for
really
tonight.
the R&B night, the lights that we're gonna miss. Let's just be honest.
It's the
I mean,
boys to men style.
I
shout
hope
out,
he's
shout out to our guy KD, man. Shout out to our guy KD.
big shout
Rest in peace.
Oh man, but y'all know what? This is 520 Collective 520
Oh,
IXC
God.
for Monday, September 8th, 2025. We got Frenchie hanging out with us. Frenchie.
Woo, 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 woo. Nah, I'm feeling it, man. I got these new I got these new Jesus hats that came in. You know,
Ooh,
these
let me see him.
no, they're not gonna be that impressive, but I just wanted to keep it simple, that you know what I'm saying? Like rocking it right
Okay,
now.
okay,
Just
yeah,
just
yeah.
simple, you know what I mean? Like you just gotta open the door for conversation.
Yeah,
Or
Frenchie, you're
Hispanic.
one of the few that can rock a trucker hat really well too, though.
You know what? I've been told. I appreciate that. I
I
appreciate
can't
that.
pull it off.
You just gotta start. I think it grows on you.
Just gotta start. You just gotta start wearing
I'm
it.
gonna send you one of these Jesus hats.
All right.
Conversation. Don't wear it in Seattle though, or wherever you're landing.
No, that's exactly where you
Yeah.
need where
That
it
might,
at.
you might be
Yeah.
targeted, demonic target.
Pray for your boy Big Swiss. He's heading out to
For real.
the land of the heathens in the West Coast. The, the
He
land.
gonna come out. He gonna come out the plane like this. Just back, back off.
Open arms from the DNC heading out there. You know what up, Big Swiss?
What up? Yeah, yeah. Get some shout outs, prayers for travels tomorrow and Friday. I hate flying. I'm 6'7". Planes and I don't get along.
Good
Uh,
gosh.
I have a layover too, which makes it worse. Um, and then to top it off, I'm flying into Portland. And then to top that off, my dad's not doing so well,
Mm,
and he and I are not particularly close. But hopefully this is like a good opportunity for more deep, meaningful conversations. So
mm,
pray for my dad, pray for my travels.
for sure.
It's a heavy burden for me right now.
Definitely, bro.
Yeah, man, for sure. We'll be praying, and y'all pray for Swiss, man. Give him some nice words in our comments, man. Like let him know that you got his back there. So.
Hopefully you don't get the middle seat.
Nah, I got a good boarding number, and usually when people see me come in the plane, they're like, "Yeah, let's give this guy an aisle."
Sir, you're next to the pilot. So
I always deadlock with the person that has like the wing seat with the extra leg space, and I'm like, "You better be taller than me. You better be 6'8" or taller." It's always someone who's like 5'4".
unnecessary seat.
They're curled up
Yeah.
in the seat itself.
Yeah, yeah, and they're not even stretching their legs out. They're sitting Indian style, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Meditating. So, oh man, let's get into it, man. So we just got one topic we're gonna hit on tonight because Swiss said, "Oh, I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to go off on this." But shout out to the DNC, man. Let's get this up here on the screen for us. So this is from Not the Bee. The title says Tim Kaine said the idea that our rights come from God, not government, is extremely troubling, and Ted Cruz has thoughts. So I'm not going to read all this, but I am going to read a little bit of this just for context.
Just play the clip.
Well, this is just an overlay right here, man. So I'm just going to read some stuff, make it easy here. So let's see. We got Senator Tim Kaine. Didn't just have a bad take. He somehow managed to throw shade at the entire philosophical foundation of the United States. His words were, the notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the creator. That's what the Iranian government believes. It's a theocratic regime that bases its rule on Sharia. Is that how you say that one? Sharia. Sharia. Sure. Law.
Sure.
Sure. He went on to say, so the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling. Obviously, Ted Cruz has some thoughts that we're going to get into here in just a minute, but I feel like just based off of that statement, I mean, I know I've got some questions, some thoughts, some comments of my own, but I'm gonna let Swiss start us off here running with this. So the idea that the rights of Americans, they don't come from a creator, they don't come from God, they come from the government and they come from our laws. Take it away, Swiss.
Yeah, man, this one got me pretty fired up. So much so, yeah, I texted it to Eric and Katie, and I was like, I'm ready to pop off on this one. So I've actually been kind of doing a little study of my own focus. I started to notice this pattern last year as I went through some more Old Testament reading again. And there's a pattern of Israel lamenting and confessing that they don't obey the law, they don't know God's words, and they didn't teach it to their kids, and they didn't learn it from their fathers. And so it's interesting because that quote, if you watch the whole clip of Tim Kaine's speech, he tries to give himself credibility by talking about how he grew up a missionary kid and how he's a Christian and blah, blah, blah. But then that he believes that the rights are given to us by the government, not by an inalienable creator. Now, Ted Cruz's response, fire. I thought what he said was great. But what I notice in this is the same thing that I'm seeing in our culture today of we're starting to see a decline in men and teaching their teaching Bible to their children. They're letting the church we'll just go to your youth group, let the church do it. And I feel like us as men, we are asleep at the guard post. We are asleep at the gate, and we are letting the enemy tell our children and the next generation this kind of stuff. I don't understand how you can preface with, I'm a Christian, I grew up this way, but the government gives you rights. And then to compare it to Sharia law, which I guarantee Tim Kaine knows nothing about Sharia law,
Well,
versus what the law of
what
Christianity is.
Yeah. He does not understand the theocratical government, how it operates, or what the foundation of a theocracy is, man. And that's crazy to me. Because it's like the complete opposite of like what the United States is set up as, and what that statement in our Constitution even means. It's all the complete. It's to keep us away from that.
Yep. And so we're starting to see this. I want to read two verses that happen in two different sections of the Old Testament. Now, there's actually 9 versions of this. I'm not going to read them all, but Judges 2:10 through 12. And all that generation also were gathered to their fathers, and there arose another generation after them who did not know the Lord or the work that he had done for Israel. And the people of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord and served the Baals. And they abandoned the Lord and the God of their fathers, who had brought them out of the land of Egypt. So that's just shortly after they're out of Egypt, right? This is right before they get Saul as king. And then Hosea, which is now during the period of the kings in the exile, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge because you have rejected knowledge. I reject you from being a priest to me, and since you have forgotten the law of your God, I will also forget your children. And so there is a generational issue here, especially as the 2022, which was just 3 years ago, the State of Theology, 53% of Americans that are self-professing Christians said that Jesus was a great teacher, but he was not God. And then among evangelicals, 43% agreed with the statement that Jesus was the first and greatest being created by God. which is a heresy condemned since the Nicene Church, right? That's modalism. That's not modalism, but that's saying God created Jesus before he created the earth, which is nowhere in our doctrine. And so we're starting to see this decline of understanding of why we believe what we believe. That's why I think deconstruction has gotten so popular in our culture. But the deconstruction that we typically see is people trying to evaluate what they think it means versus what the authors or what God intended it to mean. And so I'm afraid, like, if this is what's being said in our Senate hearings and floors by self-professed elected officials who know the Constitution, and then B, also saying they're Christian and then saying stuff like this, it's kind of scary, and it's a warning for us.
That's the problem right there, man. Is obviously Tim Kaine here does not know the Constitution and what it says, or
this guy was vice president candidate.
I don't care. It does not matter. You don't have to understand and know it to be able to.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so maybe he knows what it says, but maybe he just has no clue what it even means. Because when we're talking about our rights being given by a creator, and it's very important here, to note that yes, the majority of the founding fathers, when they say creator, they are talking about God, the God of the Christian faith, right? But they word it very specifically as creator and not God, right?
Mm-hmm.
For individuals of other beliefs to be able to still come to America and feel like this is a place to get away from the idea of what Kaine here is promoting of, oh, no, the government's going to give you everything. No, we don't want, the only thing we want from the government is for you to protect, right? That's the whole role of the government, is to protect and to carry out the wishes of the people. And I don't know, man. I'm with you, Swiss. Like, it's wild to me to see someone that's in the Senate, that's been there for, in Washington for a while, that cannot understand and wants to somehow twist this into, oh, well, America is a government that is not a type of government that is truly not. It's the same way with the way that the argument about, okay, is America a democracy or a republic, right? We're twisting stuff to get people to believe something else. And when people start believing a different truth, stuff can change in a not necessarily positive way. I don't know. Frank,
that's why we got socialists.
I think this all culminates with, the change of defining of words. I mean, if we're talking about laws, like you can trace everything back to Leviticus, essentially, when Moses was imparting God's law, which I think is, everything else has been a derivative of the ultimate Mosaic law, and the people of Israel lived by all these laws. And you talking about the Magna Carta, this was something that was drafted in Christian context as well. And I'm not really surprised anymore. I feel like there's some actors in the Senate. I don't know about you guys. I think some Senate members
bad actors.
Yeah. Like, I think they're set up to just be like this thing. Like, hey, you just have to be negative to this, or you just need to be contrary to this. I don't think a sound individual, right, would say some stuff like that publicly without even any second thought. Like, what is he thinking when he goes home and like sits back and like have a conversation with his family or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like an act. Like, he goes home and he's a completely different person. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that you have some people in Washington, and I don't necessarily know that it's new. I just think we're seeing it come out more and more, and maybe some people, maybe some of them just simply don't care anymore. But I think what we're seeing is people who clearly do not have a mindset of, okay, I'm going to be in this role, I'm going to put America first, right? I'm going to put the wants and wishes and welfare of the citizens as my top priority while I serve in this role. And it is a role of servitude, right? It is
not in America, Eric.
Well,
it's not that.
Yes, but it is. I mean, it is. But that's what I'm saying. We're seeing it change, though, right? And I mean, if we look at what Ted Cruz said here, so he said the casual condemnation of America's founding principles is exactly what is wrong with today's Democrat Party. I'm not here to call out anyone for whatever political party they prefer to align themselves with, or not at all. That's not the issue. But like Cruz goes on to say, is government protects our God-given rights, does not create or destroy them.
Mm-hmm.
And the government has become so power hungry over the years that they've lost sight of what their job description truly is, right? And it's not to give out or take away. That's where you run into a whole other kind of government that has done some really bad stuff throughout history. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the line that we're starting to walk, I feel.
Yeah, I think I always have this conversation. I have a friend that's like he's been an atheist his whole life, but he's kind of now starting to try to investigate a bit. And I always used to say to him, yeah, man, you're just your own God. Like, of course you think that. Like, whenever we got into like a theological or moral argument, I would just be like, well, yeah, you're the moral standard. You are setting the standard. You are the basis. So in as such, you are your own God. And that's what a lot of Democrats are like. If you're not worshiping God, you're worshiping something else. And it's either yourself or it's something, or it's some idol. And I think for these people, it's power. And when I mean these people, I mean all politicians. And it's just so clear to see, and yet we just put up with it and like kind of brush it under the rug as much as we can to kind of make our arguments or whatever. And I think I've been guilty of it. We're all guilty of doing this, right? It's like, hey, we want to celebrate the wins when they're good, and then we want to minimize the losses when they're really bad. But really, we just need to stand up for truth, and I'm glad that Ted Cruz did that.
So
shout out Texas.
I completely agree with you. And I think what you just said there is actually something I just read in his book that I'm going through, Explicit Gospel, if anybody ever read that one. But it talks about how worship is an innate desire, like an instinct and an impulse wired into us by God himself. So a lot of people, associate the word worship with, Christianity or whatever. I'm like, dude, everyone's worshiping, right? And you see pictures of like concerts and everyone's got their hands up. Like, what are they doing? They're worshiping.
And they're crying.
Yeah, crying. Like, I remember seeing when I was young, I seen like Michael Jackson concert in Berlin, maybe.
People be passing out.
People blacking out. People like hands up, like crying, moms, kids, sons. And ultimately, I think that the danger of, telling people to be their own God, be your own moral, because I think that's really where that, that left-leaning party is kind of headed to. It's like, hey, be your own God. You can decide if, these things are right for you. Like, you don't need the government, which actually... it's actually contradicting to what the Democratic Party used to be, if I remember correctly, right? It's like they completely switched on something, and I don't want to say Obama, but I think it was that time, but they just completely reversed, like, polar switch. It's like all of a sudden, become your own God, worship you know what I mean? And I always watch for that speak when you're listening to public speakers say something, you're just waiting for it. I'm like, they're about to say something and it's all about you again, right? They're gonna say it at some point inside this interview, at some point inside this hearing. And so I have zero surprise in my bones right now.
Yeah, man. Shout out to DJ Lost and Found hanging out with us in chat, aka Kyle Manning, because we never see that shit together. So, but yeah, no, like Ted Cruz goes on to say, he says, I have to say it is stunning to me that the principle that God has given us natural rights is now deemed by Democrats as some radical and dangerous notion. Dude, those are strong words, man, but I don't know that he's necessarily off tilt here either. Like, that's the thing I was thinking about, Swiss, as we were leading up to getting on here tonight, was this question of, okay, again, not judging political alliances that people have, but as Christians, what do we have to be asking ourselves at this point? Like, you have individuals in the government that's saying, no, hey, it's scary that y'all think that God does this stuff for you. Like, that's wild to me, man. And if we were saying, yeah, those are the people I agree with, what does that tell us about what we truly believe?
I hope Tim Kaine's mailbox was just flooded from his constituents being like, yo, dude, what? Like, why would you compare Christian, not even Christian, let's just take the word unalienable rights. Why would you compare unalienable rights to Sharia law? That's such a blunder on just a logic basis. Oh, snap. Kyle and LNF are going to get into it today, guys. UFC 151.
Fellas, I expect y'all to
Manning.
be saying some stuff in the comments, man. Y'all get live in these comments, get part of this conversation. What are we thinking about?
He said, look at that.
Yeah, man. What are we thinking about this idea of God doesn't give us rights, government does? Come on. I want to hear from LNF and comment. Get going, fellas. But back to Swiss.
LNF just got 2 computers up right now.
He got the iPad.
Yeah. But yeah, to make that comparison is such a logical fallacy on its own. Like, you could just contend with that. But then to try and say that America is a theocracy because of that being the thought of Americans as it's written in the Constitution, I mean, the dude should just be fired at this point.
Not happening. I think, don't they have to get voted out? Like a new person has to beat them or something?
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to look at
the primary.
Well, you got a primary.
You've got midterm. you got midterm elections coming up next year.
Ooh, who do you think is?
I'd have to look to see if Tim Kaine's seat is up for grabs next year or not.
Who do you think is like seat is?
Well, with the Senate, they are on a rotation of a third of the Senate is every 2 years, right? So I just have to look at when Tim. I'm gonna look it up. You guys talk while I look that up.
I did not know that actually about this.
Yeah,
There's a lot I don't remember about.
So with the Senate
elections,
with the Senate it is a 6-year term for senators. A third of them are up every 2 years.
It's just hilarious when I see like Chuck Schumer's numbers. I mean, he's putting up LeBron numbers in the Senate. Probably even more. I mean, I don't understand how you can be in that position for 100 years, but then they like complain.
They don't have term limits,
right? And then they complain about countries like where I come from, Congo, where the president will somehow stay president for like 20 years or something crazy, and the country never improves. And they're like, "Oh, look at that, that's corruption." I'm like, really? That's interesting. Like,
that's a good point.
You've been doing this for
that's a really good
years.
point.
So Tim Kaine was just reelected last year, so he's got
nasty work,
right?
Nasty work.
But without trying to sound too tinfoil hat, extremist, whatever. This is the kind of stuff when I see it, man, that makes me wonder like how much they have set up and how much they are pushing to be able to crack down on Christianity in America.
Well, did you see Pam Bondi's report the other day?
I did not.
They released a bunch of documentation on the Biden administration targeting Christians and like how they're reversing a lot of this stuff. This was like 3 days ago. And so, there's a part of it that makes me, this is the kind of stuff that does turn me into the Christian nationalist style person, is seeing stuff like this. But then also it's like, yeah, but Jesus called it. Like, he said this was going to happen. He said we were going to be persecuted. He said we were going to be hated for loving him. And so it's like, all right, come after us. Like, if we can fight it, we can fight it. I'm definitely not the person to say, oh, just lay down and let them do what they want to do. No. We should fight it anyway. But just do it in grace and love and gentleness, and like let the logic win. Let the meeting of the minds win. Like Tim Kaine is an idiot. Like he displayed it in that speech. In the 30 seconds that he spoke, he just exposed how dumb he was. The problem is a lot of dumb people heard it and agree with it.
Well, and that's right there is what I was to say. Is like they're counting on a lot of Americans being dumb, right? And that's my challenge to, like, especially the Christians in this country, man. Is like, hey, listen, I'm not saying you got to be a Christian nationalist because it's the kingdom first, right? But this is where we live, man, and you need to be involved. You can't just like try to wash your hands clean and throw them up and close your eyes and pretend like none of this is taking place, because where we are, and we have a role in it based on how, especially based on how America was established, right? And the vision that those founding fathers had for this country. But if we continue to be like, well, I don't like this, or stuff isn't going to change no matter what I do, that's when it's going to change on us, but in a bad way. It's not going to change and stay the America that we've seen for nearly 250 years now, so
Eric, I wonder what like other Christians are always thinking. It's like, do you truly believe that it's going to improve? I always want to talk when I'm talking with other Christians in the faith. I'm like, you really look at the government, you look at even the Trump administration, and you go, oh yeah, it's really going to improve for Christians because that's the ultimate end goal. Like, well, it's not even biblical.
I don't think you can count on, and that is a problem too when we're counting on one individual.
We can't count on both parties. They're both going to be congruent at some point. At some point, they're going to get together and implement what is going to take place.
That's called the horseshoe theory.
Yeah, that's where
you're talking about.
But that's why we can't rely on any individuals, any party. We have to rely on America as a body, right? As a body of citizens, because that's the way it was intended. But the more that we give up, the more power that we give up, both as citizens and as states, the less that we can really do about it, right? So we have to, and why?
But that's what I'm saying, Eric. Like, is it supposed to get better? Like, we're going to give this stuff up not even by choice.
No, it's definitely a choice. It's because for a long time we've been lazy. We like someone else deal with it. Whenever it's our role, it's our job, right? And we're not stepping up and doing our job. And when we say, hey, you do it, we're saying, do what you want, man. Not do what we want that we're putting you in this position to do. Because you're supposed to represent us. Whenever we try to take a hands-off approach, now it's sure, let's do whatever Tim Kaine wants, because who's he accountable to at that point?
But the church can't stand up to the government.
Why?
The church is part of the government. The church gets benefits from the government. Like, imagine all churches.
No, they do
all
not.
churches. Well, I mean, I'm talking about like the tax-free exemption, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, they'll take that away from you real quick. And I think that's.
But there's a difference between a church organization and the individuals in that church that are Americans. Those are two different roles, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this is where it's like the church isn't a building. The church is the people, right? That, we always say the big C church. And this is what I'm saying about like fathers are falling asleep at the wheel when it comes to teaching their children biblical principles and values. They're letting the school teach them. They're letting the television teach them. They're letting the video games teach them. They're letting everything else teach them. Like how many of your friends that have children do you know that sit down and do like Bible studies with their children?
Well, and how many are teaching them how to be good citizens also, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, like, how many are teaching them what Jefferson and Adams and all these guys, how they saw Americans being, and how faith should play the part in being a
But
member of a country like
here
America.
comes the tinfoil, though, right? It's
Okay.
like if you have control over the economy, for example, and you can really put a tight squeeze on the population, like that's kind of force everyone to really focus on, making money, paying bills, getting the groceries done. Like you're almost so busy. It's like the last thing you're going to do is have Bible study with your family. You know what I mean? So it's like, in a way, they can also just set it up that way to just make hard times,
Dude,
just
I mean, think about
tighten things up a little bit.
Yeah, but we got time to watch 3 hours of football on Sunday night.
But we're supposed to, because that's the ads, baby.
Well-
that's where the money goes.
Well, and I mean stuff like welfare. I mean, we've made individuals completely reliant on the state, and the federal government. And dude,
hey, if you were a corrupt government, wouldn't you want to lock everyone down, keep them in their homes, send them money from the government, keep them reliant on a news cycle that kind of tells them what they want to hear? Wouldn't you do that if you were a corrupt government? Wait, didn't that just happen like a couple years ago?
Well, dude, here's what I was going to say is what's funny is.
Wait a minute.
Wait a second.
So
they tried it.
So did you just describe my history?
Well, and dude, what's funny is it's shocking to me how like blind so many Americans are to this, right? Where,
like that Sandra Bullock movie,
right? But
back
like,
in 2020.
but
That was a good movie.
You had people. You have people in our government that's been sitting out here and like again. I don't care how you feel about Donald Trump. I'm not telling you to feel a certain way, but they want to say Donald Trump was a Nazi, right? They want to say all this stuff. It's like,
but then they do all the Nazi stuff.
I know, but exactly. Then your actions, like this right here, is literally something that the Nazi part, that a socialist government would say and do is, hey, no, you get your rights from us. We get to tell you what's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that argument. I know we've probably talked about it a little bit, but it is just the funniest one for me, because who decided that Hitler is the worst person on earth anyway? You know what I mean? It's like, where are we in the rating of worst people on earth? Because I mean, he's definitely up there. And I know Joseph Stalin. I know King
Genghis
Louis.
Khan.
I know one the Belgian king who actually executed like 20 million Congolese people. But it doesn't matter because they're Congolese people. You know what I mean? But if they're any other skin tone, you know what I mean? This will be big. He's being the worst
Rwanda
person.
Too.
Rwanda, the genocide. Yep.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's like people don't even like pay attention to that small little detail. It's like they're telling you like this guy's the worst person ever, but then like, is it based on numbers? Like, is it really like based on? Okay.
I think it's based on the like the cruelty involved with it as well, right? I think there's something about
cruel.
I think there's. I'm sure he was. I don't know
Mhm.
anything about him. I've never heard about this, but what I'm saying is, you're gassing babies in front of their parents, like that's next level. Like
that's some nasty work.
And
he's up there, but I'm just saying we can't be choosing and just deciding like, oh, this one's the worst based on this number. It doesn't even make sense because there's a whole list of people that like died, like, in bunches of numbers.
People in America don't know their history.
Clueless.
They don't know their American history.
It's also about what played out on the front page of the papers, right? I mean, like World War II played out,
and we fought in that war.
Yeah,
barely. We weren't even involved for the longest, because remember, Hitler was Time Magazine, most 100 was an influential people. Time Magazine, baby, it's American. I think we avoided it for a while.
Well, our goal was to just remain out of it.
Yeah, I know. Let me go ahead and be quiet. For that
well, this is what I was talking about, the horseshoe theory, right? You're seeing the extreme right now turn on the Jews the same way the extreme left is turning on the Jews. And as those people, as they separate from the middle, they start growing, and then that weight comes down, and they're really just saying the same thing, and they're gonna band together again and create another party.
He said Benedict Arnold.
Hitler, Judas, or Benedict Arnold.
I don't know if I would put Judas in the same. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could have this.
That's big time.
Well, I guess the argument I was going to make, you could make it for Hitler as well. But I mean, Judas had to fulfill that role.
True. So would you say Hitler had to fulfill that role?
Oh man, well, and that's what's iffy. I mean, I guess technically, when you think about God laying everything and putting everything in place, I guess I'd have to say it. But I mean, like,
for real,
like Jesus was meant to be betrayed. Jesus was meant to go to the cross for the ultimate sacrifice, right? So,
yep.
If not Judas, someone, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You're opening a theological Pandora's box, EB.
Well, we're not trying to turn us into a theocracy here in America.
Well, no, I was saying, like, because now people will say, well, then did Jesus create Judas knowing that Judas was going to betray him? And as such, was Judas always condemned? Did he not have the free will to make those decisions? And that would be a very fair question to the uninitiated. But if you understand God as a triune, omnipresent being, he already knew it before it happened. You know what I mean? And so it's not that he foreordained it.
Right.
He just knew it was going to happen because he's in the past, he's in the present, and he's in the future at the same time.
He rebuked Peter, though.
Judas had the ability to make a different choice, but if he had, someone would have stepped in.
Someone else would have betrayed him. Yep.
Yeah, but when Peter was trying to fight back, he's like, Lord, let's just fight these guys. Like, he rebuked him, right? He's like, nope, this must happen, Peter. Like, back off, and I thought that was interesting because I'm like, oh, Peter's about to turn up, but yeah, makes sense. I think he had to do that.
The other thing that's interesting in this whole story to me as well is, and I think it's true across the board, like when you have someone that's trying to argue a point, especially against something that is clear, right? Something that is black and white, there's not a lot of gray area like this. Like, you don't have Tim Kaine going and backing up his thought here with the Constitution. That's one thing that Cruz goes on to say is, hey, go back and read the words of our founding fathers. Like, what happens if you go to that original document that you're basing your argument off of? Like, the bottom completely falls out of it immediately, and that's why it's not happening. Like, these are and that's what I guess my biggest thing is, especially like, teaching a government class. Like, trust me, like me and the other government teacher were talking about this today. Actually, is like, we got to talk about this in our class. We have to bring this up because this is wild. This is interesting. But like, the challenge is, hey, why are they not willing to go back to this? And why is these not throwing up red flags for Americans, across the country right now?
Yeah. And I think, it is a good opportunity as a teacher, Eric, to then have just like a, do you know who Warren Smith is? Have you heard of Warren Smith? I think you'd like his YouTube channel. He's a high school teacher who got fired for kind of teaching his students how to critically think through things.
Was he kind of a younger dude?
Yeah, he's probably mid to early 30s, maybe late 20s, but he went viral for challenging a kid on J.K. Rowling being a bigot, and he like videoed it, and he had the kid. He just asked questions like, "Hey, what did J.K. Rowling specifically say that makes her a bigot?" He was like, "Well, I don't know. She just doesn't like trans people." And he goes, "Okay, can you look up and see where she said that?" And like, just got him to do this, right? And so if you were to take this specific thing, hey students, Tim Kaine says that we don't get our rights from a creator, we get it from the government. Why do you think he said that? I bet it'd be great. I know. Yeah, Ronald, what's up, dog? You spying on us,
Hey,
Ronald?
I
man,
put that in Chat GPT.
uh,
It says baptism, the translation.
yo, shout out to Ronald, man. I hope it says baptism, man. But
just
we
says-
don't know what
Yeah.
you're saying for sure. But
I don't know
we
what he
appreciate
means.
you being here. So,
But yeah, so I think you'd have just a good conversation because you don't have to make it about Christianity. You can just
right.
make it about the creator. And then if someone's like, "Well, I don't believe in a creator," then it's like, "Okay, so you think the rights come from us as humans. So how do we decide that?"
Mm.
And usually they'll say it's the collective, whatever we all think it is. Okay, so and then you can go back to Hitler. So Hitler was okay to kill all those Jews
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
because
Well,
everyone in
we-
Germany thought it was okay. The collective thought it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
well, if we take it back a step further, we go to like Locke and Hobbes and talking about law of nature. Even
Mhm.
them, even those early, those European philosophers, they weren't necessarily attributing this to a creator, but they were like, "Hey, creator or not, basically, this is something that as humans is just naturally a part of us. That we have these rights in order to survive and thrive, right? And we're not, and the argument that Kaine is making, like, it's not even like acknowledging that aspect of it. If we want to take it to the very like foundation of where this whole idea kind of originated from in the first place, because like Jefferson and those guys, they were really influenced by what Locke was saying.
Yeah.
And I mean, after you read even like the Ten Commandments or any of the Mosaic Law, how could you not see the correlation in, how societal, government came about? Like it just makes way more sense than anything else. It's like, how do you find the origin of morality? Is like it just goes right back to the Bible. No one came together and decided these things. It was written. It was given to you by God.
Yep.
Period.
Totally agree.
Do you expect the majority of American Christians to kind of be silent or even somewhat ignorant?
Yes.
Yep.
On a something like this?
Yeah, most Christians are biblically ignorant.
100%.
I'm willing. I bet 80% of Christians, professing Christians, haven't even read the whole Bible.
Not even Genesis. That's my favorite. I ask people, I'm like, when's the last time you read Genesis as an adult?
Frenchie, you'll be proud. Hey, you'll like this, man. I've been reading Genesis since the beginning of the year. We're on the home stretch. I'm on the last part of the devotional series I've been
doesn't
going
it
through.
doesn't it hit different as an adult? Like I only remembered it as a child, and I was like, man,
Right.
I'm missing something. And I opened it as an adult. I'm like, no way. You know what I mean? It's
Man,
like,
the whole Old Testament hits different as an
It's
adult.
like-
I'm like, why aren't there more movies on this stuff? Like, there's so many good stories.
that'd
in
be
here
the
that
best
should be
movies ever. Like imagine like Avatar level graphics, but like biblical story of like creation of all that. And
Yeah, I don't need another Noah's Ark. I don't need another Exodus story. Like, give me some Judges, give me some Kings, give me Samson, give me give me
I wanna
that
see
stuff in like
all
a
that.
legit movie. That'd be sick.
All that.
Give me Esther would be a good movie.
Give me
Like,
Genesis 6 as a movie. Whoo, before the flood, that would hit totally different. But
well,
I
they
mean,
kind of hit on that in Noah's Ark or Noah or whatever. They hit on it
they didn't
a little
really,
bit.
they didn't really like.
It was kind of
I
the
think
opening.
you can
it was like
unfold
an
it.
intro.
Yeah, you can unfold it a little bit. But I'm just saying, it's like a lot of Christians. Like when I'm having a conversation with like my wife brings her friends all over, I love to just sneak in. I like to like poke and prog and see like what kind of Bible the conversation I can get out of him, and I'll just bring up Genesis 6, 2 Peter, or Daniel or something like. And this is the first time they're hearing this stuff, and they're Christian too. And I'm just like, how? You know what I mean? It's like how is that even like possible? Like go through it. You have to fall in love with like God's words and God's message. It hits different.
Yeah. And like to Christians who maybe, and I hope it's not the case, but I get it that this is where we are sometimes. Maybe we're not as confident and secure in some of these arguments, right? But let me challenge you with this, man, because I think I just saw one of the responses here, and it's very true. If we want to just argue it with what is at the core of the American spirit, right? We hold these truths, so we know what we understand truths, right? But we hold these truths what?
Self-evident.
To be self-evident, meaning we don't need to explain any further. They explain themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and they're true. Period. That's all we need. Like we don't have to convince you otherwise. But it's really crazy when we have these people that are in positions of power who are supposed to represent us that we apparently are having to convince.
Eric, you want to know
They
something
don't-
that's interesting? Sorry, so it's I just thought of something real quick, and like even like growing up in Congo for the time that I was there, like no one had like the technology to connect and link up and have all these ideas, but the moment something right went wrong, the moment some injustice happened, literally like they are the quickest people to get together. Like third world countries will protest all day long, and this is not like left wing like protest. These are people that just wants like the plain basics, like just give us water, clean water, but they'll protest real quick. They get locked in so fast, no pun intended, but they literally get together a lot faster than I see Americans. Like America, like we see all these paid for protests, these like like manufactured like
Organized,
riots.
yep.
It looks super organized. The same people are in different towns holding up signs. Like this doesn't make any sense, but it's like legit in third worlds. Like they literally will get together and go protest. Like they're locked in. Like what I'm saying? Like I don't see that a lot from Americans. Like I see a lot of Americans like, oh man, like
No,
I make good money. I'm over here. I'm
We're
chill.
distracted.
I'm not.
We're distracted.
Or
well,
I got games this weekend. I gotta go watch my games. I'm traveling to Vegas this weekend. Like I don't have time for all that protest. I don't have time to watch Tim Kaine. Like
well, it's uncomfortable, and it is for some people it's kind of a nuisance, right? It's oh man, do I really have to do this? Man, if I just ignore it, it'll go away.
Yeah.
But
what I was going to say earlier was they don't want these truths to be self-evident, because if they aren't, then abortion is okay.
Yep.
And like self-assisted suicide is okay.
Nasty work.
Gender affirming surgeries are okay. And so if the government is who gives us these rights, then that's exactly what they're going for. And it's easy to see.
You also got to question people who are quick to say like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to move out of the country. Like, how are we going to say that these are the people that should be in these positions when they don't love the country enough to stick around even through some hard times or some stuff that they don't like, right?
I'm sure I would
have
move
this mass exodus. A lot of it
breaks.
is just lip service, right? That we're getting from them. They say it or whatever. But I mean, to even throw out the idea of, well, if this doesn't go the way I want, I'm out.
Like
who can afford to do that?
For real, you have to
rich people.
Yeah.
To even say that, I as an immigrant, sometimes I feel like I love this country more than some Americans. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm like,
you do.
I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, I had to be naturalized
because you've been somewhere that's worse.
Yeah.
If like even me just moving, so I've lived in 4 states. I've lived in California, Arizona, Texas, and Colorado now. And the cultures are just so night and day different. Like in all 4 states, they're super different. Like, and people just think they have it so bad. And I'm like, you don't have it that bad. You're just lazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bet Kyle wants you to get out of here, LNF.
LNF, what about Seattle, man?
He's gonna start the new chop.
Get your hazmat suit.
Well, that's what's up, fellas. I don't know. Let's run it around. Let's get some final thoughts in here, man. Like I don't know. I feel like this was a good conversation here tonight, man. I hope that we get some comments. Like if you're watching this after the fact, throw your thoughts down. What do we think here as far as like what Tim Kaine said not only did he say it, but he said it on the Senate floor, man, like in the chambers, right? I mean, that's wild to me. Where do we get our rights from? Is it from a creator? Is it from God? Is it from the government? Y'all let us know your thoughts on this conversation. But we're gonna run it around. We're gonna get some final thoughts here, starting with French A.
I mean, questioning where our rights is from, like for Christians, it shouldn't even be a thing. Like you should be going through the Old Testament and understanding Mosaic law, where it came from, how he implemented it. Why there was 613 of them. I think for us, we always have to go back to the Bible, and I always, challenge all the Christians I was running to. I'm like, man, just go back to the Bible. You're having trouble with something, yeah, go back to the Bible. It's like, yeah, it may not solve something, but it's going to give you some intuition sometimes. Like, oh man, I did not see this way, and we don't even need to argue back and forth like Tim Kaine and whatever. It's like we know where our truth comes from, and we're gonna keep that center, and we're just gonna wait for the day where they try to take that away from us, and maybe that's gonna make some Christians rise up. You know what I mean? Let's hope for that day to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Swiss.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts still about it, but primarily it does fall on us as men, as the men of our households, to lead our wives. We are to present our wives spotless to the Lord. We are supposed to teach our children the way of the Lord so that when they grow older, they don't depart from it. These are things that we should be taking seriously and not giving those responsibilities to the youth groups or the churches or the church Bible studies. Should be stuff that we're talking about on a regular basis, and it's something that I could do better myself. And I talk about it all the time, and I don't think I talk about it enough. But yeah, I just think there's just a lot, like watching the biblical literacy of our age decline is just wild, especially if you just study the last 100 years of Christianity in America. It'll blow your mind where it is now compared to where it was 100 years ago. And the thing that kind of got me really passionate about reading scripture was I had kind of had a self conviction that I knew more about the MCU movie interconnections and how they relate to the comic books. I'd been collecting comic books since the first grade. I've got like 10,000 comic books in my garage. I could tell you every like little detail about certain characters and how this shouldn't be in the movie because I could do all that. I'm that nerd, but I couldn't do it for the Bible, and that convicted me hardcore. And so I started reading the Bible, and then I noticed all those same things that I love about that are in our actual history that God ordained, and it's so interwoven and just like, oh my gosh, this is referencing, like the referencing back and forth puts the MCU to shame. So if you're somebody who's like, man, it's really hard to get into, it's really hard to read, it's ancient text, like, dude, stick with it, read it, understand hermeneutics, what's the context, who's writing it, who are they writing it to, and why did they write it. If you get that, you will fall in love with it the same way you do those things, whether it's a Star Wars or Star Trek or Marvel or whatever your thing is, or even if it's just knowing sports trivia. Apply that to the Bible.
Amen.
Yeah, man. And guys, I know I probably have sounded more like we'll say passionate,
a Christian nationalist,
so, something like that than I typically do. But the point is not because I'm sitting here pounding the drum for America per se, right? And what I mean by that is, like, I'm not sitting here telling everyone, go get your stars and stripes drip and throw that bad boy on, and walk around, decked out and that stuff. But it's more about embracing and appreciating what is at the foundation of this country, and what the intent was, right? The intent was for us to be able to come here and to have faith and to worship and to believe as we so choose, right? And there are Christians in countries across this planet that they're not able to do that right now. And if we just keep on giving up a little bit more and a little bit more of what is our responsibility, we're going to get there and be in the same similar situation as the rest of those brothers and sisters in Christ, man. And I don't want to see that. I want to see America continue to be an example of what can be, right? And to continue to push the bar and set that bar, right? So that's my challenge to y'all, man. It's like, hey, don't think of it as, well, I've got to choose sides and I want to be politically indifferent or what. Like, okay, but we really can't if we are concerned about the things, those unalienable rights that we said that we believed in the first place, right? So
well
that's my
said
challenge to you, man. Like as we head out here for the rest of this week, man. Appreciate everyone that's been hanging out with us, man.
Let's go.
Ronald and Kyle and
Ronald. CCP's watching. Eric.
I hope Ronald hangs out with us every time we're on from now on. Like that'll be fantastic, Ronald. So,
yeah, shout out Ronald.
Yeah, we're turning up in China right now. It's up. It's 9 a.m.
Shout out to our guy, Katie King David the Vessel. Looking forward to seeing him back on here real soon.
Yes, sir.
But good conversation, fellas. Good conversations tonight. So
as always, man.
I think let's see, Swiss, we are off next week.
Correct.
Right, said,
I will not be here.
So we're off next week. So we'll look to be back in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we can make that work. But yeah, hey, it's been a crazy 2025, man, but it's been fun. Like I said, getting close to wrapping up this Genesis study, so I'm open to suggestions on what happens next. So if y'all got any good ideas for potential Bible studies, preferably tied to the Bible
Daniel
app, throw it out there for me.
Ezekiel, Daniel,
right.
Get to it.
Get to it. So
those are the ones.
Yeah, man, y'all already know what it is. It is 520 Collective, FiveTwenty IXC for the whole crew, and even those that are not here, man.